I knew Battlefront had released a plastic Jeep kit in 15mm, but I'd never seen one. Engineering such a small vehicle in plastic can be challenging, and I was curious to see how they'd gone about it. But so far there are only a few box sets that include it, so I decided to take the plunge and buy one to check it out. Join me for a look. This is the Airborne Jeep Recon Patrol box set for late war US forces in Flames of War. Plastic Jeeps are also found in the Armoured Rifle Company HQ and the Recon Patrol Security Section box sets. While this box set is for US airborne forces, there are a lot of options on the sprue. This hints to me that the Jeep will be available for other nationalities too. As armies became more mechanised during World War II, there was a demand for a light, general-purpose four-wheel drive vehicle. The US Army trialled several designs for a quarter-ton vehicle, with a design by Willys Overland being standardised in 1941. The design was rugged and simple with a low silhouette. Power was supplied by a 2.2-litre four-cylinder engine called the Go Devil, which delivered 60 horsepower. Jeeps filled many roles. As well as transport, they could tow light guns or trailers of equipment and ammunition. Jeeps also often mounted machine guns and were useful as reconnaissance vehicles. They could also be used for casualty evacuation. Because of their small size, Jeeps could be fitted into gliders and transport aircraft. This made them ideal for airborne troops. Over 600,000 Jeeps would be produced, and they served in most Allied armies. They continued in service for decades after the war. If we look at the back of the box, there's an assembly diagram and a picture of a completed kit. You can see the parts count for these Recon Jeeps is very low, just 5 parts. The box set contains 4 Jeeps and 1 unit card. There's also 2 sprues of flexible plastic US airborne crew figures that aren't mentioned here. Let's look at the plastic. The first thing you realise is whoever designed the sprue never had a conversation with the packaging designer. Each sprue has parts for 2 Jeeps, but the frames don't fit into the small boxes, and this is how they come in the box, crudely massacred into 2 sections. Most sprues that do this divide the parts onto 2 frames that can be separated for packaging, but this sprue doesn't. That means some parts are poorly supported when the frame is cut. This is not ideal. The chance of loose or missing parts is obviously increased. But let's leave that issue aside for now and look at the parts. The mouldings are nice and crisp with the sort of nice strong detail we expect from current Battlefront kits. There are also quite a few optional and additional parts to enable this sprue to be used for other units and nationalities in the future. This part of the sprue has 1 chassis, some 50 caliber pintle-mounted guns, 2 types of rear plate and 2 different sets of hoods or bonnet parts. The bonnet parts also include the radiator grills. This pair have standard headlights and will be used for most Jeeps. The other set have a blackout shroud on the left headlight and a vehicle weight panel obscuring the right one. I think this configuration would build British airborne Jeeps, probably a planned future product. This set of rear hull pieces feature a spare tyre and jerry can as well as the folded supports for a canvas weather cover. This is the version called for to build the Recon Patrol. These alternative rear panels are clear of stowage and cover supports, again probably for building a different version. That just leaves the 2 pintle-mounted 50 caliber guns. These heavy machine guns are mounted in the middle of the vehicle and are fired by a gunner in the rear. These are the weapons used when building this Recon platoon box. The other half of the sprue has another Jeep chassis. The large space beside this part is probably required for a slide mould, as that's the only way to get the undercut wheel and stowage detail on the side of this part. Using a slide mould here keeps the parts count low and makes for a simpler build. Both windshield parts are here. It looks like these can be mounted raised or lowered. There aren't any positioning tabs or locating pins with these. It proved a bit hard to see the contact points on the bonnet during assembly, so I solved that by using lots of glue. Other armament options include a single pintle-mounted 30 caliber machine gun. This could be mounted in place of one of the 50 caliber guns. An intriguing option are 2 Vickers K guns. These drum-fed machine guns were mounted on British Special Operations and Airborne Jeeps. Again, I took their inclusion on the sprue as evidence that we're likely to see these versions offered at some point. All the rest of the parts are various types of stowage, including boxes and other cargo compartment options, jerry cans and a spare tyre. None of these are required for the fairly simple Recon Patrol build, but are all useful and probably required for other variants. There are 2 of these crew figure sprues in the box. These are US Airborne Infantry figures moulded in flexible plastic. You get 2 drivers, gunners and passengers on each sprue. There's no variation in pose, so your options here are a bit limited. There's a little bit of flash to clean up, and I might suggest gluing the figures to their seats before mounting the armament. So those are the kit parts. The sprue massacre to get the kit into a small box still has me shaking my head, but apart from that, these look great. It is a tiny kit, but it includes a wide range of options. These hint at many future variants of this kit in the future, most strongly for British Airborne. The kits go together okay. The hardest part was the windshield, which had odd contact points when gluing it into position. Positioning is also guesswork, but I got there in the end. I might suggest fitting the seated crew figures before the armament, otherwise they can be fiddly to get into position. There are no instructions for using the optional parts. I'm guessing that will come with future box sets. So that's the kit, but how will these Recon Jeeps do on the tabletop? The Recon Jeep Patrol is an unarmoured tank team with the Scout and Spearhead special rules. Scout teams can remain gone to ground while moving, useful for keeping hidden and out of trouble. Spearhead means the Jeep Patrol can recon ahead, extending that force's deployment area. Being airborne, these are elite troops and their motivation is a fearless 3+, but with a 4+ last stand. Scouts aren't meant to fight to the death. They are careful being hit on a 4+. They also have a 4+ vehicle save. This is in lieu of an armour save, as they are an unarmoured tank team. Jeeps are speedy with a 12-inch or 30cm tactical move, the same as their terrain dash speed. Cross-country is 20 inches, but they can go 48 inches if you can find them a road. Crosses are 4+, so keep them away from obstacles or difficult terrain if you can. The only weapon stat line is the 50 caliber machine gun. It has a 20-inch or 50cm range, with a halted rate of fire of 3 and moving of 2. Anti-tank is 4 with a 5+ firepower, so if needed these jeeps can provide a bit of supporting fire. They also get self-defense AA, so they can fire at attacking aircraft if they get strafed or bombed. The Airborne Jeep Recon Patrol is an organic unit in a parachute rifle company list. You are limited to a single patrol. 2 jeeps are 2 points, or you can have 4 jeeps for 4. That's maybe a bit pricey, but you do get some heavy machine guns. That's a nice firepower boost. But I think the main bonus for this list would be their mobility. The jeeps move faster than anything else in that company. You can use these if you need to push a unit up somewhere faster than the infantry can walk or dash. Plus Spearhead lets you push out beyond the deployment area when setting up. That's always useful. So that's the Airborne Jeep Recon Patrol. I only bought these to get a look at the plastic Jeep kit. It's a fun build, but a bit fiddly in places just because it is so small. The kit has plenty of options, including ones that hint strongly at British Airborne Jeep sets in future. So you have all the parts you need to build them as whatever variant you wish, and there's still a bonanza of leftovers for the bits box. Because I bought these on a whim, I don't have a good plan for using them. Have you used them? Is the Airborne Recon Jeep Patrol useful in the parachute company list? Have you built these Jeeps in any of the other configurations? How did you get on with them? Let us know in the comments below.